Is it a classic scrape, or is it one from this week?
This is an archive. All they did this week was join a gym, and that hasn't... Really, I just joined that so I can get more future scrapes. I'm running out of stuff. But this was a few years ago when I worked at... Do you remember when I worked at a school?
Yeah.
That was a classroom assistant for a bit. I just moved to London and moved in with 3 people who I didn't know at all. And we were all very bad at maintaining the house. We're supposed to be like... The garden especially, but the house in general was a mess, and the girls once put up a cleaning rota without having discussed it with everyone, which I think is a bit...
Ooh, yeah, that always leads to trouble.
I think you've got to sit everyone down and go, we should all start doing cleaning, what do you think about a cleaning rota? Instead I went down one morning and on the fridge was a colour-coded cleaning rota. My main problem with it was that my name was in brown, which suggested I was the messiest one in the house. Everyone else was like greens and blues. And I was
Were you the messiest in the house?
No way, man. Keith was.
Oh, not Keith. Keith. What was Keith's biggest sin? I mean, what would he...
Keith didn't do anything in the house, didn't help out at all, but one of those girls was his girlfriend, so she wasn't going to tell him off in front of everyone.
Of course.
Typical. What colour was Keith?
Keith was blue, a nice deep ocean blue.
Oh, unbelievable.
The more I hear about this Keith guy, the less I like him.
He was awful. He would sit there playing... He'll never listen to this. Keith used to play fantasy role-play games all the time.
And he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend.
Did you have a girlfriend at the time?
I didn't have a girlfriend.
Right, you must feel really bad.
Also, but I wasn't doing myself any favours in that house, because I'd bought the only blanket I had at home, and I've had it all the way through as a child, so I didn't think of it as anything weird. But then it was this blanket of a tiger roaring, just a tiger's head that would fill the whole of my bed. So it's this massive tiger head just growling. And
so did you ever bring a girl back, get to the bedroom, and then that was the...
No, I never had that, but my housemates did look in and go...
Meanwhile, there's a guy next door playing role-play, getting gently...
Getting all the ladies.
So, there was a cleaning rota.
It's a cleaning rota, but the garden was not included on that rota, and we all neglected the garden, and it got out of control. It was a proper... And eventually, the neighbours dobbed us out to the landlord. The neighbours phoned them up. And
so what can you give us a picture of what that garden looked like? I mean, it was just very overgrown.
Yeah, basically, it's just like weeds and grass that were like higher than most of us by then. It was ridiculous by the end. It was, I couldn't look out the kitchen window, so I'd feel ashamed.
Sure. Well, there's too much grass.
What we'd done, yeah. Keith loved it. He'd go outside in there and play wizards.
Get lost in the enchanted forest.
Yeah. Trying to find an elf sitting on a toadstool that could tell him the way to the castle. But he loved it. But the rest of us really
furious, yeah.
Really
and the neighbours
and the neighbours would look over and get annoyed.
I always feel sorry for neighbours who live next door to basically students.
Yeah.
No, often like a lovely retired couple.
Yeah.
They spent house proud. They spent and they got the couple of plebs next door who don't have any. Oh God!
No regard. Don't care.
Keith and James next door.
So yeah, they ratted us out, and the landlord phoned us up and said, just going to come round and do an inspection this week on Saturday, so if you need to sort anything out before I get round there, then that'd be good. So we panicked.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I worked at the school, and I knew that there's a gardener there, so I asked the gardener if I could borrow some equipment from him. And I thought he'll give me some, like, shears or something like that. He gave me the strimmer. The proper...
the hedge strimmer.
The full-on strimmer to use.
Yeah. Did you carry it across London?
I did. I had to put it in 2 bin bags, one from either end. It looked like and then tie it up with rope in the middle. It looked like I had a dead body on the tube. I mean,
that would be a very confident way for a murderer to dispose of a body, wouldn't it? By tube.
Best way to do it.
Work, in plain view, hide in plain view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course this is a strimmer. Everybody just assume, it's got a strimmer in there. There's no way it's a dead body, despite the smell. But I got back home, and I was really like, don't worry guys, guess what I've got? And they were really excited I had the strimmer. Plugged it in. I went outside, and I remember them all watching me from inside, and I turned it on, and it stram beautifully. Really amazing.
Excellent action.
Amazing.
Was it one of the kind of ones with the little sort of petrol motor, or was it an electric?
It was electric, so I had to plug it in.
Sure.
And have the wire coming through the kitchen window. You know the top kitchen window that's long and thin.
Oh yeah.
And it's all it's used for is putting wires through.
Sure. Yeah.
So we had that. And I was trimming one-handed, and it was so easy.
What?
Yeah.
Arrogant.
So.
But then what were you doing with your other hand?
The other hand,
Upping the
I was
fees
waving to the
neighbours.
onlookers.
No, but you joke. I was throwing gang signs to my friends on the inside, to Keith and the gang.
Yeah.
Just doing the gang signs like, this is brilliant, I've got a strimmer. And then I saw their faces changed from delight to horror, really. And then turned around and realised that the cable had got wrapped up in the strimmer.
Oh my word.
And was currently being shredded while I was holding it.
Oh my word.
And this was after like 30 seconds of strimming. Like I'd done
Strimmer
very
was
little. Very little.
Committing
strimming.
kind of Harry Carey.
Just immediately.
I thought for a minute you were going to say you'd sliced Keith's head off. he was sat amongst his people in the forest.
Game over, guys. Sorry.
So you started chopping at the wire.
Shredding the wire up. Immediately, the strimmer stopped and the whole house short-circuited. The whole, all the lights in the house went off. Everything stopped. I think someone had some washing on, that stopped.
Yeah.
It was.
Why
it
did
was-
the whole house short circuit?
I don't know. I think there's this thing.
Did Mr. Jenkins, the landlord, come in at that moment?
yeah. Guys, just seeing how. What the hell? What? These lights aren't working. You're doing my washing, right? So that was ruined immediately. We had to do the rest of the garden with.
So basically, it was like if the garden was a person's head of hair.
Yep.
It's that thing where you were going to give a full shave of the head,
Yeah.
and you've just got one patch missing.
Yeah, and then
everything
absolutely,
else is-
I broke the electric shears. We're going to have to do the rest with scissors, which were not. At the end, it did look like somebody was trying to cut their own hair when we actually did the shears.
Oh, did you do
around
it?
that? Yeah, we had to do it with shears, the whole garden. It was awful. But I was mainly scared about returning the strimmer to the school, and I panicked so much about things, and I was trying to guess, instead of Googling how much a strimmer was, I tried to guess, how much would you guess the strimmer is?
100 quid?
100 quid?
More?
Yeah, probably about
100, yeah. 100 quid? Yeah. I guessed £2,000. In my head, I was like, it's got to be £2,000.
Yeah.
I've just thrown away £2,000. I can't believe it. And I was really panicking on the tube on the way back with it now in 2 bags. No, it's in one. But like taking it back in this bag, and I got.
So why was it? Wasn't it? Couldn't you just replace the wire?
Well, I thought I probably could, but I just panic way too much in this situation and think I'm going to have to buy an entire new strimmer. And I got back and I gave it to the head teacher. I said, look, he said, did you find it useful? I said, for a while. But I then stram through my own wire. And I've broken
The head
it.
teacher's word. I don't think stram is.
Yeah. Oh, it's a word.
You shouldn't be working at this school.
I'm teaching the kids well. We're doing some drumming. I dram with them the other day for ages. So I had to tell him I broke it, and I thought I was going to get into it, and he just went, "It's all right, we'll get Patrick to fix it." And I was like, "What else can I borrow?" Great. I'll just borrow everything, take it home.
It doesn't come back to haunt me. I can go berserk.
There's no consequences, just ruin everything.
Went home with a blackboard, wrote your own rota.
Yeah, myself in glistening white.
Yeah. So did you get away? The landlord was fine when he came in. It was all.
He was fine. He obviously came round and knew what had happened. He could look at the garden and go, "Well, you've clearly just rushed this."
But you made
we
an
got
effort.
away. Yeah, we got away with it. He said, "Lovely rotor." In the end, we had to stop using the cleaning rotor genuinely because we couldn't read it because it was too dirty.
Well, you know, life's come on since then. You've joined a gym.
Yeah, joined.
I'm worried it leaving you in charge of, the treadmill.
Throwing gang signs on the treadmill to everyone else.